All right, we're just gonna end that there. How's it going, everyone? I did not realize that if you take off your AirPods, it's actually gonna pause that video, the intro video. So like, I played it and I got up to go do something really quick, taking off my AirPods, and apparently it just pauses that intro video. And I was like, I got 3 minutes. I'm gonna go do the thing. I'm gonna go run my errands. Go running around the house, and then do the stuff. And no, the video, intro video was paused. Bummer. um. So we were off and on an adventure last week where we got caught up in trying to debug a test because the reset token wasn't functioning properly. It was supposed to be hashing we had a one failing test after doing an upgrade to Redwood 5.1, I believe. Let's see. If we look at one of these packages here, 5.1. And for whatever reason, the reset token stuff was not working. Oops. We don't need to see that. Let's see. Should we just do a quick little tea? Let's do a quick little tea. RedwoodJS. So RedwoodJS. To work through fixing our test, and then later demo my simple AI assistant app. So that's where. So we're gonna time box. I just realized that I did not say where. But we're gonna time box us working on fixing the test, and then on the second half, I'm going to show what I've been working on as a little prototype regarding ChatGPT and the like. ChatGPT integration. So I won't get into it because we're going to be talking about it later. But let's get into this. Let's go to RedwoodJS, and I just want to quickly see if there are any updates, changes in regards to between 5.1 and 5.2, just to see if there was any significant things that might address the weirdness I was having. So right now we are in version 5.1.4. Basic fixes, example telemetry, wireless measure. And then it gets up to 5.2. Okay. Nothing about any errors that are happening with tests. That's fine. Just making sure. So this is the test we're focusing on. And let's take a look at this. Let's run it, see how it goes, and all that good stuff. Let's play some background music. Make sure that it's at an adequate volume. So this does work in actual practice, but for whatever reason, the test fails for the reset token. We did a very deep dive into exactly how password reset tokens are piped through. And we made sure that, so Waffle Crisp, which is the token, gets hashed to a value and stored in the database. So it gets randomly generated, hashed to a value, stored. And then when you do the password reset and you click on the link and it's passing the token, it passes the token in, it takes that token, rehashes it, and looks up that token in the database to see if it matches. And that's what it's supposed to do, and that's what it's supposed to find. So I think I was thinking there's something up with this upsert here. There's something very up with that upsert, I think. This is a slightly different error now, though. So line wait for URL. What's going on here? Is this the right test? This is the playwright test setup. I think we need to have a playwright running, or our app running. Yarn Redwood. Let's see. We have a special command that we run. We don't just do yarn Redwood dev. And I forget. It's just yarn dev. And that will run everything else. Oh, because we have a competing service running, that's why. Let me, I have another Docker service for another application that is currently running. And so that Postgres database is conflicting with this Postgres database. Let's see if this will work now. Now we wait. It looks like we are failing in the exact same spot for the admin, for the test setup portion. Global setup. Interesting. All right, let's try doing yarn dev. I might need to run the init again. So we'll spend up until the 30 until half past the hour, and then we'll switch to kind of showing off the other project I was working on. There we go. Now it's running. All right. So let's take a look here. So it says reset token is invalid. We're getting the exact same issue that we were seeing before, which is great, not great. Okay, so the question is user creation here. Let's try to see what's going on here. I'm not sure if we can actually, I'm not familiar if we can do a debugger statement in here. We probably can't. But we will try to console log everything possible to get some indication what's going on. The good old console log. I don't want to spend time deep diving into like how to get this to like debug in the editor and stuff like that. Let's just try to fix the problem. Optimize debugging interface later. All right, so we did output this. And we did get an ID, we did get a token, and a verified token. But it still fails. It's just popping up. It's popping up off screen, which is a little annoying. Okay. Let's try to deep dive again to find where the password reset stuff is happening. Before we were modifying the internal library stuff. So this is the pages. We need to check the back end, I think. So this is the web. This is the user. And then verify resets. So this gets called by the library for the user, the DB auth library. Now I'm just trying to find the entry point to the DB auth library. So we might be able to get to it through here. Maybe. So use auth, DB auth client, DB auth web. And then dbauth web is this whole song and dance. Let's see. I think this is only for the front end though. dbauth, this is creating dbauth client, dbauth, so that might not work for us. On the back end though, let's try to find some information. Okay, so we need to go into dbauth client because we need to figure out, I want to figure out the internals of how dbauth is handling that password reset to figure out why are we not getting the verification token, the password verification token, correct. So dbauth API, we'll deep dive into this. And this is the part I like to do. I know some people might not enjoy this, but I like to look at internals and figure out what's going on. Just looking at messages, getting Slack messages. All right, so what I need to figure out, or I need to find the section. See, I'm trying to remember what happened yesterday. dbauth handler. Let's see. Let's look for verify token. Here's the token. This might be, so this is the forgot password flow. And then this is where username is required. So this is the first part of the forgot password flow where we're actually setting the token, or when we're generating the token for the user and saving that to the setting that to the database. So we're bypassing this part by directly saving the token, the hash token to the database. And we're trying to trigger the next part of the flow where we are given a token. Let's see, we might be able to leverage the outline instead of like jumping around like crazy. Validate reset token is that. Let's see. So these are objects, invoke options, forgot password. And then here's reset password. So reset password is when we get the token. So we're supposed to get a token in our reset. We're supposed to get a reset token in, and in our test, there's the reset token. And is it this file? Yeah. So we get the reset token in. We check. It checks to see what's going on with the reset token. Throw in an error if it's not there, anything like that. Is the password present? So checking if password is present. Kind of curious about this. Oh, okay. There's an extra step in here that's supposed to happen that I'm skipping, actually. Because in the forgot password flow, here. Or reset. Let's see, forgot password. Reset password page. This is it. Validate reset password token. So then we get the reset password token, validate reset password, gets passed in from use auth. So let's follow this to make sure we're looking at the right thing. So that's coming in from use auth, which goes to, so it goes from here, and then this, and then validate reset token, db auth URL, and then we're calling the method validate reset token, which takes us back over here. And then validate reset token is happening right here. So we're calling this. And then we find that user via the reset token. So this is where I believe things are just going all sorts of stupid. To put it plainly. Let's go find this method here. Oops. Why do you not want to copy and paste into there? That is weird. There we go. I don't know why my copy and paste wasn't working, but it wasn't. Okay, so find by user token, and then we are doing all sorts of steps here. I'm actually console logging the hashed token to see what's coming out. And then this is where we're querying for the user. Oh my God. I don't know why it jumped just right now. What if my computers are starting to go potato mode already? It might be. It's like being really slow. So DB accessor, find first where this. What I think I want to do. Oh yeah, my computer is running slow. We might need to disable some plugins, I think is what we will need to do. Let's disable, usually the plugin that takes up a lot of resources is ESLint. So let's disable for this workspace right now. ESLint's usually the most intensive one when it's like parsing different things. Just pop in the chair you on. What's up, Keith? Thanks for coding. I can't hang around today, but I'd like to catch a future session sometime soon. All right, Keith, thanks for stopping by and saying hello. Appreciate that, Keith. Really do. Okay. Do we have control of our computer again? We don't. All right, let's do a force reload. All right, wow, time went by fast. We're already a half past the hour. I'll give it until 140, and then we'll swap to a little side project that I've been working on with a ChatGPT and OpenAI, which will be very cool. So what I wanted to do here was, along with trying to console log the user, which I know doesn't come out, what I want to do is await this DB accessor, and I think Prisma allows you to do .all. I think. I haven't used enough Prisma, admittedly. Let's see. Get all rows. Get all records. Find many will do it. Is the one. I'm thinking about Rails. I spent all my days in Rails, so I don't know the names of them. I don't not remember the names of the methods. Alrighty. Let's run this test. I'm going to have to check. You know what? I bet my yarn dev process is my yarn dev process still running? Because I restarted the terminal, but I didn't end the process. Okay. It looks like it just, did it go to another port? Well, we'll find out soon enough. We'll see how the test goes. So this console logged because this was in the test, but what I'll have to do is run the test so we know that we're still getting the same error token, blah, blah, blah. And what I need to do here is check this right here. All right, so getting all the users did give me all the users that are scaffolded in here. And we know we have this user here, Snap Crackle Pop, that is created. Let's see, is that user in here? Ooh, I think I know what the issue is. We are doing a request against our running devs. Are we doing a request against our running dev server? Because I do not see Snap Crackle in here. Yeah. Snap Crackle is the user. Let's kill this because it is doing a request against the wrong thing. We are going to do our yarn, redwood, and knit. Because maybe we did fix the error last Friday, but now that we figured out and fixed it, we're just running against the wrong command. Let's try this and see what happens. The end-to-end test is gonna probably take a little while. But it should hopefully be hitting the endpoint, running against the test app that's connected to the test database, not the dev database. The problem with the test that we found last week was we weren't setting this reset token to be the hashed value. The reset token was set to waffle crisp. Yeah, so this is still, I think we got to do -- init to make sure everything's set up properly. Yeah, so we're going to build the Redwood app and everything. So that's what the problem was, is what we discovered last week, was that there was a change in the workflow. And when we were setting up the test data, it was a bad, because there was a change in the workflow, it was a bad setup in the test data, that the reset token needed to be the hashed value of the reset token column in the database needed to be the hashed version of the reset token that's passed in the URL when we actually perform a reset password. So once that was discovered and understood, that's what I did. But now it seems like the persistent failure now that we had at the end of the stream last time is that we were then running tests against the development server connected to the development database and not running it against a test Redwood server against the test database, because the test is connecting to the test database, creating that user, setting that reset token right here. But then when we do those API, when we're interacting with the app, we're interacting with development's version that's connected to the development database. So that user does not exist at all. Okay, so while this runs, let's go ahead and change gears just a little bit, and we'll just let this do its thing, and hopefully it works. And I'm gonna open up another project that I've been spending about a day and a half on, a couple hours, not too much. It's a little playground application to exercise my knowledge that I've been absorbing about using generative AI to drive an application. And I scaffolded it up in Redwood, although I'm not using the GraphQL side of Redwood because of, long story, but it had mainly to do with the database setup. I was bringing in an existing database from Supabase and trying to run migrations against it wasn't working, so I just ended up creating custom functions. All right. Ooh, the password reset works now. Look at that. Now that we're going up against the test database, now this test is actually running. Yes. Okay, cool. We'll probably have to wait for this to finish because, well, actually we don't have to wait for this. Well, no, we're probably gonna run it. We're gonna collide against IP address issues or port issues. Let's see. So we don't need this here. And with that. What other changes do we need to commit? No, we don't need to do that. That's fine. Let's commit that. Let's commit. And then we'll commit this. Set user setup for hashed token. Let's say PW reset. Cool. So hey, we got it. All right, let's commit that. Very nice. So we've successfully, with that last commit, we've successfully upgraded from version 4.2 to 5.1, which is what we were working on. This one's an intermittent failure for whatever reason, so we don't have to worry about this one. It's an intermittent browser failure. All right, so we can safely switch here. So we're gonna kill that because I already know that this is gonna work. And I don't want to hold up anything else. Let's close this and go to this and then run yarn redwood dev. And I want to show off my little ChatGPT assistant for one of my applications. Let's bring it up over here. Boom. Alrighty. Nothing pretty to look at yet, but I just did a basic thing. So string closed captioner assistant. So string closed captioner is an application I have been running for doing subtitles for some time now for Twitch. For Twitch streamers and Zoom meetings. So here's the product, and this has an FAQ page that I have that people can go to and check out, and get their questions answered on how to use this application. All sorts of different questions and all sorts of questions and answers in here in terms of setup, instructions, all type of stuff. So what this is a ChatGPT bot that functions as an assistant to help you with if you want to ask it questions on how to do things. So what is stream closed captioner? And it goes and leverages generative AI to answer that question. So string closed captioner is an application that allows users to send captions to various platforms such as Twitch extension, Zoom, and OBS WebSocket. It has been completely rewritten, and then this is like some stuff about completely rewritten. Let's see. What other questions could we ask? Let's see. How do I set it up? So I don't have this, I'm not using the streaming protocol, so I have to wait for it to go all the way through. And then here we go. We have the assistant responding back with to set the screen capture, you can follow if have a Zoom account, a good microphone, or either. So this is already kind of messing up. So this is suggesting Zoom. How do I set it up for Twitch? Let's see what it does then. There we go. So now it's saying set it up for Twitch, install the extension, choose activate, go to the page, go live, all these instructions. So how, and then also this even though it's using ChatGPT under the hood, you can't ask it other questions. So you can't ask it like, what's the capital of the US? and it should respond back with, hey, I don't know that. So how does this work? So through my studies of integrating with ChatGPT, I am using embeddings to drive this. So what's happening is I have taken my docs. So these markdown files are all the exported results of this wiki page here for FAQs. I exported those all to markdown files. And what I did was I parsed all of these markdown files and created embeddings for these. So embeddings are basically data representations of the text in the file, of the data in the file, on basically a two-dimensional plane, or on an XY plane. I think there's even I think you can even represent it in a three-dimensional plane. It might even be a three-dimensional plane. But anyway, you're representing it on a plane. So it takes, and you use ChatGPT has embeddings, an API to generate embeddings. So what you do is you give it the text, and all it does is give you back the embeddings version. And that's what's happening here. So we're grabbing all the documents, and for each document, I am creating an embedding. So create an embedding. This is going over to ChatGPT, doing an API request, giving it the data, and generate the embedding. And then what I'm doing is then taking that embedding along with the original text of that page, or of the document, and storing that into the database. In this case, I'm storing it into Supabase, Postgres, and the embeddings is in a vector type of column. So it's a special extension that stores it as a vector because it represents a plane. That's the first iteration of this. So that's a preprocessor phase that you need to go through and process all your docs, store them into embeddings for lookup. And then what ends up happening is at the time of asking a question, so the query comes in, and then you take that query that someone's asking a question, and you generate an embedding of that. So you take the person's question, and you represent it as a vector. And then what you do is Supabase, in there, they had a blog about setting up your database and also setting up a database function to do basically a query to compare the embedding that you're giving it for the person's question against the embeddings of your documents. And it uses, since they're represented in vector spaces, it's able to do sophisticated mathematics to find locality of like what's the closest thing, and then whatever matches the closest are going to be the top matches in terms of like what they're saying versus what's in the contents of those pages. And you can hit the top results, and you get those results, and then you get those documents back from the database. So we get all the rows of the database, those documents, and that basically functions kind of just like a regular search engine, right? It's like you type in some text, you get a results on the page. But the power of generative AI is you can go one step further and ask the AI, the language model, to take that information, look at that question, and then try to answer the question based off the data I just gave it, of all the different documents I gave it. And that's what that last phase is. So we goose, we get those documents, and then what we do is we collect all those documents into a context, and it's just an array appending the top 10. And then we stick it into one of those, familiar ChatGPT prompts of you asking it questions. But we preface it ahead of time saying, trying to scope it, ChatGPT to play a role. There's been plenty of blog posts and stuff like that of like getting ChatGPT to pretend to be someone or something. And that's what this is about, where I'm telling it, you're a very helpful string closed captioner assistant. Given the following context sections from string closed captioner FAQ, answer the questions using only that information outputted in markdown format. So we're telling it, output it, put it in markdown format, and then those results that came back from the database that potentially are matches for the person's query, question, text, we put it into ChatGPT. And then what I do is I'm adding a little bit of extra layer of stuff to kind of get ChatGPT I'll delete. Let's comment out these things because this gets into a little bit of fun stuff. So then we give it the context, and so this is all the system's information. This is what the system knows. This is its world. And then we tell it that, hey, the user's asking the original question. And then what I'm doing at the end of this is also kind of reinforcing and telling the system, hey, only answer in markdown format. I'm just reiterating this. You can only answer questions with the information found inside of the provided sections. If you are unsure with the response, say, sorry, I don't know how to help you with that. So we're kind of like really locking down, trying to like really scope the language model to only answer based off stuff. And then that's how it's able to reason about, give a generative answer. So if I ask like what, so if I say, how do I install it? And we'll look at the console output so we can actually see what's happening. So how do I install it? To install string closed capture, you need to follow these steps. And this is just using React Markdown to actually render the markdown that ChatGPT is generating. And if we scroll up here, we might be able to see the markdown files that are generated, hopefully. Ooh, interesting. Am I not console logging? I am console logging the context. Let's see. Let's see. Actually, let me see. So, quest completed. Let's fix this a little bit. Logger. Debug. So maybe it didn't find. I'm curious to see where it got this answer from. So we wait. We get an answer back. It didn't. It's actually not saying anything that it got from this context. So I wonder if this is from the already pre-trained stuff, because string closed capture has been around for a while. So ChatGPT might know a little bit about it already. Let's see if we can log some more information. So it didn't find any documents. So it is just doing things on the fly. based off the context, based off what it already knows about string closed captioner, which is really interesting. Let's rephrase this. How do I set it up? Let's see if that gives us something else. So we can see right here that we matched with a context. Or we matched with a completion. So this is the article. This is the article it found about setting it up. It found the getting started article about setting it up. And this is the only one it found. And let's see. So, and it's all like garbled right now. So you need a Zoom account. It up for Twitch. Let's see what happens if we say, how do I set it up for Twitch now? So I found it in the database. It's a little bit delayed now because what's happening is after I found it in the database, we're sending this markup over to doing a request to ChatGPT with that context so that it can try to do a generative response to the person. So you can see got this, and it parsed that out from this content here. So it's actually pretty easy once you kind of know the steps that are involved to working with generative AI. It's pretty easy to go and set up the initial stuff to get it to be scoped and work for your own platform, tooling, whatever it is. The difficult part is getting good data for it to read from, and also to make it not make up stuff, to hallucinate. That's the challenge that exists. So you need a good data set, and you need it to be able to answer things properly or answer that it doesn't know. My data set's pretty small. I only have like maybe 15, 10 different pages of like talking about like setting things up because it's a small application. So I thought this would be a fun thing, but there's tweaks to be done, because how do I set it up is a pretty ambiguous thing. We wouldn't want it to feed the Zoom setup. We would ideally want it to either clarify and then also this is like very garbled in terms of structure. It's just like one stream of thought that we'd want this to format it for. And that is the larger challenge with dealing with generative AI, which is prompt engineering. Cool. So that's just what I want to show off. I'm going to be playing with this, tweaking this. I'm also going to be looking into other things, but basically this Redwood project is going to be a ChatGPT playground, like it says, where I'm going to be doing a bunch of different prototype ideas and playing with, basically a single app for me to take the learnings I've had looking at generative AI and applying it to my existing data sets or more, or building out other assistant type things against other data sets. But that's it, folks. We got some wins. At least I like to think so. We did actually fix the issue with the test last week, and we figured out what was the issue this week why it was failing, because we weren't testing against the proper server. But we got that working. And we learned a lot about how dbauth works, at least from the reset token flow, which is really cool. I like that. And then showed off the ChatGPT, using generative AI to create your own assistant. If you're curious about anything about what I was doing or have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter, LinkedIn, potentially Instagram, but Twitter and LinkedIn are the best sources. Talk to me, Gooseman, or Eric Guzman if you need to find me on LinkedIn. But I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone that was lurking or hanging out or checking out the VOD. And have a great Memorial Day weekend, folks. So if you got 3 days off, enjoy it. And I'll catch you in the next one, folks. Peace.